All right, we are going to discuss Biology 3.1, and this is for ecology. Make sure you're filling out your guided notes as we go along so that you can turn those in and you will have them to study from for your test. 3.1, Ecology. What is ecology? It's a biosphere that consists of all life on Earth and all parts of the Earth in which life exists, including land, water, and the atmosphere. The biosphere extends from about 8 kilometers above the Earth's surface to as far as 11 kilometers below the surface of the ocean. The scientific study of how organisms in the biosphere interact with each other and with their surroundings or their environment is called ecology. Ecology comes from that Greek word from okios, which means house. The interactions between the biosphere produce a web of interdependence between organisms and the environment in which they live. There are definite different levels of the ecosystem. So, our planet that we actually have, like we were talking about, with all of its organisms in the physical environment, that's our biosphere. We'll get smaller than that from the biosphere. That's how big it is. And going down to the next thing, it's a biome, which is a group of ecosystems that share similar climates and typical organisms. From there, we can go even smaller. Next, all the organisms that live in a place together with their physical environment is known as an ecosystem. We're going to touch on biomes and ecosystems later. Then even getting down even smaller. So we're going from the big biosphere down to smaller things. We have an assemblage of different populations that live together in a defined area. That's called a community. A population is a group of individuals that belong to the same species and live in the same area. And then from population, we get even smaller to the final thing, which is the individual organism. The individual organism is called species. It's a group of similar organisms that can breed and produce fertile offspring. We have biotic and abiotic factors. A biotic factor is any living part of the environment with which an organism might interact, including animals, plants, mushrooms, and bacteria. For an example, the bullfrog, okay, he eats the algae as a tadpole, and then as he gets older, he eats the insects that he eats as an adult. And then, of course, there's herons who turn around and eat the bullfrogs and other species to complete this entire that compete for food and or space that they actually live in. Physical components of the ecosystem, that's an abiotic factor. Is any non-living part of the environment, such as the sunlight, heat, precipitation, humidity, wind, any type of water currents, soil, and so on. All those things are called abiotic factor. For an example, bullfrogs affected by water availability, also the temperature and humidity. Methods used in the ecological studies, we used observation, where we ask questions, like what species live there. We also do experimentation, which is we use that to test the hypothesis that we make. And then we make models, making models or modeling based on the data to help us understand what's going on right there in that ecosystem. Okay, so that's the beginning of ecology. Fill out your notes and submit them online or turn them in.